legal geniuses. So first of all, thank you for having me here. Thank you for waiting for me here, because I missed my first flight and had to catch another one. But I promised you guys that I would come, and I said no matter what, I will be here. I told Joey, talk a lot and make sure that they eat slow.
Yeah, so, doing that.
Yeah, I know, that's why I love it. So, let me just introduce myself again. I am Joey's partner in crime, or vice versa. I think I'm older than him, so he's my partner in crime. We are the two lawyers that sued Governor Sigal Chattah for Calvary Chapel on behalf of Calvary Chapel Old Mountain. We are the two lawyers the only two lawyers in the state that have been consistently fighting for the Constitution and your constitutional protections. And it started off with the First Amendment, and then Joey, because he likes the science more, I don't like the science. And I'm really sick of COVID, because I have to constantly look at the CDC guidelines, whether it is infectious rates, whether it's death rates, what are the cases, and the vaccines. And you know, the problem that we've got is, Joey calls me the legal mind, he's the science mind. And it really takes both of us to do what we're currently doing, which is the mask mandates. One of the issues that after we prevailed in the Ninth Circuit against Sigal Chattah with the places of worship case, I decided to take on the governor on the vaccine rollout. It was not about the mandate. I had a group of senior citizens come to me and ask me why they don't have access to the vaccines. And this was back in February, I believe, and I filed that lawsuit against the governor and the AG's office, because what we noticed is that he was hoarding these vaccines. Now, when you have the ability to obtain medical treatment, that means that you should have access to medical treatment. And if you are a vulnerable community, like these senior citizens were, they were entitled to those vaccines before anybody else. Because when we saw death rates skyrocket in the state, it was the elderly with the comorbidities, and that's what that lawsuit was about. It was not about mandates, it was about access. And when I filed that lawsuit on the vaccines and the rollout, the state was only vaccinating 2,000 people a day and had a backlog of 100,000 vaccines. By the time we got to court and he dropped the age from 75 to 65, they were hitting 15 to 20,000 people a day. Some days they were hitting 22,000 people a day. And that lawsuit was about seniors. It was a nonpartisan lawsuit because of the fact that the choice of plaintiffs were seniors. It had nothing to do with your political party. It had nothing to do with any political opinions you have. This is strictly a pragmatic lawsuit about access to medicine, okay? So that was the second one that I did. And then the third one that I did happens to be my favorite of all time. It's the lawsuit that I filed to reopen the legislature. Now, one of the things...
I was on that.
I know. The legislature is the people's building. That is first and foremost, okay? The executive branch, the Supreme Court, the people's building is the legislature. And when the governor and Brenda Erdos and Nicole Cannizzaro concocted this brilliant idea of, we're not going to let the public in because we're going to fast-track bills and we don't want to hear people's opinions on it, okay? That didn't sit well with me. You know, like Joey, I'm a litigator. And when I see injustice, then I'm going to go and fight it. And that's what the lobbyist case is about. I call it the lobbyist case. Most people call it the People of Nevada case. Because that's what that case was about. Again, these are nonpartisan cases. These are cases that are based on the Constitution, and whether it's the First Amendment, your right to petition your government for redress, which is what the legislative case was about, okay? Your right to free exercise, which is Calvary Chapel, okay? Your right to vaccines. I argued the most preposterous argument, okay, about the vaccines case. And it was the most novel issue that a lawyer could use. I said it was cruel and unusual punishment to deny senior citizens access to the vaccines. Cruel and unusual punishment is a standard that is used in criminal law for death penalty cases. And the way I used that is I said, you are letting seniors die because you want those numbers to go up. That's all that was about. So when I filed that lawsuit, I had to stick a roadmap on how do we vaccinate seniors, because the level of incompetence that this whole administration, top to bottom, engaged in, that was the problem. So I literally spelled it out for them. High schools in Clark County are closed. You are going to use high schools, and you are going to start mass vaccinations over there. And that's what that was about. I literally laid out the roadmap. That is the case that I swore up and down I was gonna lose, because, again, the argument is so novel. You're using cruel and unusual punishment on vaccine rollouts, but it's ingenuity, it's legal ingenuity that is being utilized in every COVID case there is, okay? The mask mandate case, did Joey talk about that, or did he leave that to me? Mask mandate case, Joey talked about it. Okay. Mask mandate case, we are testing the 9th Amendment and its applicability to parents' rights to supervise what their children's medical care is going to be in school. Okay? Now, again, these are novel issues that we are testing the waters. There is no precedent in this country for what we are doing. COVID litigation is breaking. It is something that is evolving. I'm sure everybody heard Sotomayor refuses to take up to the Supremes the vaccine mandates for teachers in New York. They gave teachers an ultimatum. They told teachers, you're not vaccinated, don't come to work. They appealed it to the Supreme Court, and Sotomayor refuses to take it on an emergency basis. Okay? We're seeing a very bad turn with the justice system. We are seeing, instead of justice being dispensed, we're seeing political propaganda being dispensed. And the only way to fight that is to sue and sue and sue. We're going to lose a lot of them, but all it takes is that one win. Okay? What's she need?
She's down at Elko.
Okay. Oh, she's okay.
Yeah, she lives in Elko.
2-car drive.
Yeah.
Well,
and Melissa.
I'll give you guys.
Melissa's back there.
Where's Melissa? There's Melissa.
Back there.
Okay. My plaintiffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
My attorney.
My plaintiffs. One of the things that we need to remember is that because the judges are now engaging in political propaganda instead of dispensing justice, and we're seeing that in the legislature case, they're slow rolling us. They're slow rolling Joey and I right now in the mask mandate case. They said it's not an emergency. We've got kids with impetigo on their face. And again, this is where Joey, the genius with the science, okay? I went to law school so I won't ever have to deal with medicine. And here comes Joey with his brilliant ideas. Now I'm on the CDC website every day, learning about micromorts. The whole point of me going to law school was just, like I said, so I'll never have to deal with that. But, you know, when we talk about the mask mandate case, and we talk about the efficacy, the mortality rates in children is so low that it's measured in micromorts. Okay, now what's a micromort? I didn't know what a micromort was before 3 weeks ago. Okay, Micromort is 1 in a million death, that the death rate is so low, that's how it's measured. Okay? That's what we're up against. In the meantime, we've got kids covered in masks 6 to 8 hours a day. I've got parents sending us emails, Joey gets these emails too, pictures of their kids with impetigo breaking out. We have affidavits from parents. My kid is being a lot more aggressive. Of course he's being aggressive. He's masked up for 8 hours a day.
He's being smothered.
I mean, wouldn't you be aggressive? You know, and yet, the judges, again, what are they doing? They're engaging in political propaganda instead of dispensing justice. So, it takes a lot to deal with loss as a lawyer. I'll tell you personally, it does. Because you put a lot of hard work, you put a lot of time. These are federal briefs that we are drafting. This is not some motion we're slapping together in 5 pages. These are federal briefs, and when we perform this, we perform it for the people of the state of Nevada. So, after doing this for 1.5 years, and we are the only 2 attorneys that have been doing this for the past 1.5 years, it's time, instead of acting like an AG and doing it for free, I'm ready to take his job.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to happen. Because if he did his job, I could do mine. But not that I'm not doing my job by litigating these cases. I think these cases are very fulfilling. However, I'm taking a pay cut doing these jobs because we're not charging people to do these jobs. I bill at $400 an hour. I'm sure Joey Bill's right up there. Okay? So, we're doing our public service for the state of Nevada. It is, again, the most gratifying thing, because when you go to the 9th Circuit and you beat the governor in the 9th Circuit, very few things can come close to that kind of gratification in any lawyer's career.
Yep.
Okay? Especially this cutting-edge litigation. Okay? So I do take some hits, okay? You guys know I've got the lobbyist case being slow-rolled. Joey and I are dealing with a mask mandate. You know, the vaccine was a fluke. I landed in front of the same judge that I had overturned, and he knew that I would have him overturned again. So he forced their feet to the fire. And their feet being forced to the fire meant that you either capitulate or you go back to the 9th. And the 9th has already laughed you out of San Francisco. So pick your poison. Which one are you going to do? But it's strong lawyers and strong advocates that got us here. Okay? Without strong lawyers and strong advocates, you would never have that. Seniors would not have had access to the vaccines as quickly as they did because he wants high numbers of dying people, okay, to keep the state closed. That was the purpose of his slow rollout, okay? Without strong lawyers, places of worship wouldn't open right before Christmas. They wouldn't have. They would have waited for another, 6 months until everybody else opened?
Right.
You know, who the hell is this governor to tell us that a place of worship is non-essential?
That's right.
Really?
That's right.
You're going to designate what's essential and what's non-essential? Absolutely not. Now, the thing is this. If we had a competent AG, none of this would have happened. None of this would have happened. You know, and we could go down the line and look at other spheres that this happened in. First one was obviously places of worship, okay? Another one that nobody talks about, and it's like the dirty little secret, is people's 6th Amendment right to speedy trial.
Right.
Criminal trials were suspended for 1 year.